We got some trade rumors, y'all. Cam Thomas is on the trade block. Let's talk about it. So this is somewhat of an impromptu YouTube video. Normally, I think these things out a little bit more, but I figured this was an interesting one to talk about. There's an interesting topic around Cam Thomas. If you're not familiar with who Cam Thomas is, he's one of the best just bucket getters we've got in the NBA at this current moment. Looking at the counting stats alone, I mean, 24 points, 3.5 rebounds, 3 assists, right? Like, pretty interesting stuff to look at. Like, 24 points a game is nothing to slouch over. Almost 25 points a game, actually, at pretty good efficiency. The field goal percentage itself isn't necessarily all the greatest, but he's shooting almost 40% from 3 on 7 attempts a game. It's pretty damn good, right? It's pretty damn good. We've all seen Cam Thomas play. If you haven't, go look up some highlights. It's basically just him having the basketball and hitting extremely difficult shot after extremely difficult shot. I think that the conversation around him being traded is interesting, right? This is a young player that is averaging almost 25 points a game, and they're making it publicly known on the Brooklyn Nets that they don't necessarily want him long term. And I think there's a very logical reason behind that, and that's what we're going to talk about. So Cam Thomas is a very interesting type of basketball player, right? There's a lot of guys that I've seen in my time as a coach where it's like, yep, these guys can get buckets, right? There's a lot of guys that can. People will often ask, like, how come this high school guy or this college guy that scored all these points didn't end up like going anywhere? They didn't translate to the NBA or something like that. Well, a lot of times when I see a guy that's just a pure bucket getter like this, right? Like there's no doubt in my mind he can score. It's because they can't do much else on the court. Is Cam Thomas a very good passer? No, not really. Does he really rebound? No. Defensively, he's pretty lackluster. Like, there's just not much else he does on the court. But hey, 25 points is a lot of points, right? And so there's a lot of guys that when they come to the NBA that are pure bucket getters that, look, they can't go get you 25 points or 30 points like Cam Thomas can on any given night, right? So you have to be really, really good at it like he is to warrant having your spot on an NBA roster, right? Because there has to be generally more skills to a person, but he's basically a role player that's a scorer, right? Like that's his job, is go score as much as you can when you're on the court. Doesn't matter what else happens when you're out there, right? So that's kind of the give and take of it. I mean, if you look at his on-off numbers even, when he's on the court, he's almost a -6. When he's off the court, the team is actually a winning team, which is interesting enough to say as the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, it's 14 games into the season, right? But like that's kind of interesting in and of itself, right? So what does that tell you? Cam Thomas doesn't necessarily contribute to winning basketball, but he's really, really good at exactly what he does. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go through every single NBA team and think, can Cam Thomas be traded to that team? That's what we're going to go through. We're going to use our good friend Fanspo here to actually go and try to execute on this. So what I want to do, I want to explore all the places we could logically move him to, because the Nets are in this situation, right, where they have to pay Cam Thomas after this year. He's on the last year of his deal. Here he is right here. 1 year, $4 million for 25 points a game. Almost like that's pretty nuts, right? But they have to re-sign him at the end of the year if they want him. And now is Cam Thomas part of their long-term plans? Well, they haven't actually even really started their rebuild yet. Like, they're still kind of in the teardown process, right? So do you give Cam Thomas like $20-30 million a year to just go score? Probably not, right? Considering where you're at as a franchise, it doesn't make a ton of sense to have a guy like this, and he's not even really contributing to like winning basketball. Is there an argument to say that, hey, maybe you get the first overall pick this year, Cooper Flagg comes in. It's nice to have a Cam Thomas on the team because he takes some of the scoring load off of the young guys that you bring in. Yes, there is an argument to be made by that, but I'm not sure I want to do that and give him like a long-term contract or something like that. So I'm not surprised they're shopping him around to see what they can't get for him. What do you get for Cam Thomas? At least a first-round pick, right? I mean, you're trading 25 points a game, maybe a young guy that's kind of interesting, but we've got to find some teams that need some scoring and some scoring punch. What's interesting is he really doesn't make a ton of money, right? So how do you actually execute on this trade? That's another question. So we're kind of just going to go down the list, see what makes some sense here. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 15-0, wouldn't touch really a thing right now. Just looking through their roster and everything, I don't know. I don't think they have anything necessarily to offer. Boston Celtics, nope, probably don't need it. Orlando Magic. By the way, shout out to all the people in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord already, link is always in the description. We're talking about stuff constantly on there. This is where this conversation started. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to make an impromptu second video for today. Why not? I can't help myself. I think it's an interesting topic. The Orlando Magic might be the best destination for him. And I don't even know how you can reasonably do it. at this very moment, but I'm interested. The Orlando Magic have 0 shot creators, and I know this is going to piss off some people because they're going to be like, ABC, what's a shot creator? Quiet. All right, just listen to me for a second. Shot creator is somebody that you need to make like a unique defensive scheme for. They can create space for themselves, create opportunities for others, things like that. Paolo Banchero, is he slowly becoming that? Where is Banchero? Here. Slowly, maybe yes, but even still, I don't think you need to throw a unique thing at Paolo Banchero in order to have like an efficient defensive scheme to go against the Orlando Magic. I think he's a very, very good basketball player, but he's not really like creating for himself at that like crazy of a level to where it's like, okay, I need to put guys in these positions to make it better, right? No. It's more so like on an individual basis, you have to work with who's ever guarding him to be like, this is how you need to guard him, right? So that's what I see. I feel the same way about Franz. Cole Anthony might be the closest thing you have to it on the team. It's not Suggs. KCP hasn't worked out. You need someone to go get some buckets on this team. This could be a good way for him to do it. He'll be surrounded by good defensive players. So what do we do to actually make this happen? Like Jet Howard feels like a bit of an overpay, in my opinion. So is this something where we can just relieve them of some salary or something like that and kind of go from there? Let's kind of explore that. So first of all, Cam Thomas goes to the Orlando Magic. A Caleb Houston or something is kind of interesting. Young guy, young wing, three-point shooter. Maybe they mess around with that and find something that they like here. And then I think you throw like a Cole Anthony into it. Cole Anthony does not need to be on this team at this point. Anthony Black has taken his spot in the rotation. Is he 6'7"? Is he really 6'7"? Doesn't seem that big. He seems big, but fair enough. I don't know if this financially works at all, but let's start off with this. Is this something we can execute? No, they hit the hard cap. Remove $2 more million in order to make this happen. Okay, that's not that bad. That's not that bad. What if I throw Trendon Watford on you? And these are recently signed guys, so like the trade won't work regardless, but we'll just assume it happens later in the season. Can you do this? Okay, overall though, you could do this. Is this a perfect trade? No. They now have to include a first round pick for me. I think this Denver Nuggets first round pick is a pretty good one to throw the Nets' way. How many picks does this give them for 2025? Then it gives them a couple. They'd have 3 first round picks in a very star-studded draft. 4, actually 5. Oh my gosh, there'd be a couple of them here, and it's a star-studded draft. Maybe that's okay. Maybe you'd rather throw like a 2026 at them or something like that. They have their own they could use. I don't know. You pick the pick. I think he's worth a first-round pick. This alone makes some sense to me. Cole Anthony gets the chance probably to start on this team, assuming they move Dennis Schroeder. And this is a guy that can take some scoring relief off of whatever player you decide to bring in the draft. So I think this is a good opportunity for Cole Anthony to get back on the court. Caleb Houston, look, they don't have a ton of wing players that they're going to be able to play after they trade some of the other guys, presumably. Give him a shot. You get a first-round pick for it. I think that's a pretty good deal right there. I think that's a pretty good deal in and of itself. Let's see what other teams we can add to this. The New York Knicks. Is there a way for them to even accomplish this? Do they need another scorer? Probably not. Probably need like a wing defender or something like that. Another big, most likely, right? The Detroit Pistons, no. I want Cade with the ball as much as possible, if not Ivy. The Indiana Pacers, do they need a guard scorer since Tyrese Halliburton apparently can't score anymore? Probably not, because I like the guards that they have. They need more of a wing or something like that. So I'm going to say no to them. The Atlanta Hawks put him and Trae Young together. It would be like the worst thing ever, but I kind of want to see it anyway. The Miami Heat? Let's talk about it. Is there something here? Because they could use some more scorers. Like Tyler Hero is doing what he can right now. Jimmy had a great game against Philly just last night. Terry Rozier has been struggling. Do we need a guy that can create a little more offense on this team? Maybe. And do they have some picks? Maybe. This might be too small of a trade for them, in all honesty, but I'm curious, nonetheless. I remain curious. What could we possibly do for this? I don't think we're getting Jovic out of them for this. We're not getting Ware out of it for them. Some of these other rookies, I don't necessarily know. So what do you have for draft pick assets? You can't trade the 2026. You can give them the 2029. Is that worth it for Cam Thomas? That doesn't make you a contender or anything. Is this one, though, where we could just straight up do a Cam Thomas for, like, Duncan Robinson type thing? Like, this trade doesn't make a ton of sense, like, but we're going to get hard capped. Yep, so we'd have to remove another, like, $6 million. I don't think there's a logical trade here. I think that the logic of moving him to the Heat is sound. I don't think there's actually much you can do about it. Hornets doesn't make a lot of sense. Bulls have too many guards already. The Milwaukee Bucks. Can we do something here? Now, their defense hasn't... the team hasn't been good. Let's just put it bluntly. The team hasn't been good. We don't have a ton of draft assets to use either. Is there a young player we can throw at them to really intrigue them? I don't think Beauchamp's moving the needle. You're not moving AJ Johnson, most likely. You're not moving Tyler Smith, most likely. Probably not, but I'd be curious to see how they could actually execute on this. Sixers, no, they got enough ball-dominant guards. I don't need to mess with them at all. Are the Wizards going to make a trade like this? No. Are the Raptors? No. Like, this has to be, like, a better team, right? Like we can work our way up from here. Utah, no. Pelicans, no. Trailblazers, no. Spurs, no. Clippers? This feels like a move that the Clippers could low-key make. Like, doesn't it? This feels like it. They already have, what's his name? Where is he? Where's Bones? They already have Bones Highland, and they don't use him, though, so I'm not going to say that he can go there. Dallas Mavericks, enough ball-dominant guards. Nope, and they have Jaden Hardy, who's an equivalent type thing. Not completely, it's different, but you know what I'm saying. Sacramento Kings, do we need another scoring guard on here? I don't think so. Devin Carter comes back at some point anyway, presumably. I don't know if he's coming back this year at all, but no, I think you got enough like guards and stuff on this team. Memphis Grizzlies. This is interesting to me because they don't have a lot of ball handlers on this team. Is this something we could execute on? Because we have an excess of players as well, and we have some picks. Okay, I'm curious now. Okay, let's think this through for just a second. Who could we tempt the Nets with for a Cam Thomas? So Cam Thomas goes over here. I immediately think Jake LaRavia. Like, I've seen enough flashes of him to where I'm like, okay, I'm curious in this guy. He doesn't get a lot of PT for them right now, but you get a younger player back. Throw in a Brandon Clark because you don't need Brandon Clark at this point, right? He's a guy that they can take. They can see if they want something out of him. He's 28 years old already. He doesn't feel like he's been in the NBA like that long or anything, but nonetheless, you get some salary back. You can maybe move him in another deal because teams need bigs right now. So if you give him the minutes and things look good, cool. We see what happens then, right? They've got guys like Jay Huff, Aldama, Edie and stuff, Jaren Jackson that they're playing. Gigi Jackson comes back at some point, right? So how does something like this even work? Does this financially work? Need to remove another $3-ish million? Okay. I can find you $3-ish million. Deron Sharp. Ooh, we might warrant a couple more picks if that one ends up going. We'll give you like Derek Whitehead or something like that. Was this enough? Let me just like test this really quick. Does this work? 97K, so no, it doesn't work. So we need somebody more expensive than Derek. So Noah Clowney. They can't send Zaire back to him. That would just be rude. Is there a way that we can also get Dorian Finney-Smith over? Because they would also really like Dorian Finney-Smith. So just play with me for a second. Just play with me. That move works. Now, they are getting back valuable wing player that can play for them right away. Cam Thomas scores 25 points a game. What else can we get out of this then? Is this something where can we take back like another guy like a Vince Williams then? Because that's another interesting young player here that maybe we could try to turn something into. That works. I think you throw in a pick then probably as well. Maybe we throw a 2026, throw some top 5 protected on it just in case the whole team gets injured again type thing. What do we think of something like this? The Grizzlies get 2 players that they could use right now. I don't know how Cam Thomas plays next to Ja Morant. No clue. Although Ja Morant's been passing the ball better this year, so maybe I'm tripping with that by thinking that can't work. The Nets actually save a little bit of money, and they get Brandon Clark, who they can use as an asset. LaRavia, they can experiment with, see what they're going to get with him. Vince Williams, they have locked up for a little bit longer, and they get a first-round pick out of it. I don't know. I kind of like that. You guys will obviously let me know in the comments. Next up, Denver Nuggets. I mean, yeah, like we could try to make something work here. They don't have the draft capital to do it, and that's where it gets difficult, because what are you giving up? Like, you're gonna send them over Zeke Naji or something like that. You don't have any other young players that I'm interested in, so no, it's not gonna work. Sorry, Denver Nuggets fans, you guys remain stuck. Suns don't need another scorer, even though at this very moment they do, because Durant and Beal are like hurt or whatever, so that is what it is. The Lakers, Could the Lakers do something with this? Why would they want Cam Thomas? To get some scoring out of the guard spots, because they're not currently getting a great level of production out of those guys. D'Lo is a question mark, but like this is a team that's like, LeBron can't play with a Cam Thomas. That's the thing with a guy like this. Like, this is a guy that's on the court solely to go get buckets when he's on there. Like, there's too much lack of like logic into Cam Thomas's style of play that it wouldn't fit on this team. So I don't think that works. Let's move on. Houston Rockets. We do not need to move anybody else into the Rockets. Rockets are already overperforming maybe a bit right now. They've got some young players that they're trying to work with. Don't need it. OKC, they only need size. Golden State Warriors. Is there something here with the Golden State Warriors? If anybody could force somebody to play within a system, it would be the Warriors. But would Cam Thomas actually be good in a system? I don't necessarily think so. I feel like he's the kind of guy that just thrives and like throw him out on the court, make him do stuff, right? And or let him just do whatever he wants. Now, if I was to explore it, is there something here with like a Moses Moody or something like that? Let me experiment really quick. So Cam Thomas, something like this. Maybe you just say we're going to get something from Moses Moody. Maybe this is what we do, right? I mean, you probably don't even have to give up a first-round pick necessarily for Moody in this one. Maybe you just throw a couple seconds at them or something just because he's a recent enough first-round pick. And you go, yeah, I don't know. Moses Moody cannot be traded this year since he signed an extension. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so that doesn't even work. Okay, fair enough. Is there anything else that you'd be interested in? Probably not. Probably not. Okay, so what did we conclude? There's two teams, in my opinion, within reason that we can trade Cam Thomas to. The Orlando Magic and the Memphis Grizzlies. I think both of them pretty interesting deals in and of itself, and I think that the Grizzlies could actually make a even deeper package work with Dorian Finney-Smith, which I think could be cool. So you guys let me know, though, what kind of trade ideas do you have? By the way, again, go join the Discord. We've got a place to talk about trade ideas that you have there. People are commenting on them, having a good time. Otherwise, leave me a like, subscribe, comment, do all of those things. I respond to every single comment to my YouTube channel, and I love doing it. So if you leave a comment, I will respond. But hey, I appreciate you guys as always. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.